Yeah, thanks very much. Is that coming through? There we go. Okay, I should say I'm here today as an employee of Avon Wiltshire. Okay. Yeah. I got a nice spotlight on me here. Avon and Wiltshire Mental Health Partnership, and thanks very much for fitting me in. Took me by surprise. Really appreciate that. I'd just like to start by, just as Hibat did earlier, congratulating you for putting this on. This was my school when I was a lad, some years ago, 1980s I turned up here. And I would say, sadly, that many of the guys I went to school with have ended up with lives that were not what they could have been. They never reached their potential. And actually, in the process of not reaching their potential and not making an offering to this city, some of them became liabilities. They get tied up in the criminal justice system. I was in a mental health hospital not too long ago, and I saw a kid I used to see when I was young. And it's just heartbreaking to see people when you are young with all the potential in the world, and then you see them when they're older, and sometimes you can be embarrassed to go and say hello to them because of they haven't fulfilled the fullness of what they could be, and all the tragedy that means for them in their moments of time and for their families and the communities around them. So for me, when I heard today was going on and thought to come over, I'm just so thrilled that it's such a symbol and it's an example to us all of people who are stepping up and saying we are not going to take the future that just falls into our lap. We are, Alan Milburn has written a report on social mobility in the UK, and then he says that your parental background is such a strong predictor of where you're going to end up in life, as in if you are born poor, you will be poor at the end of your life, that it's almost like we're in a country of social engineering. The flip side of that, and register this, if social immobility means that poor people do not go up the social ladder, it also means that many people who are born rich but who are not competent don't come down. So when we look at the upper echelons of our society, don't think that everyone's there because of their merits. It is not meritocracy. So I find it really inspiring to be here today, to be around people who are just stepping up and as Liban said earlier on, really taking control, saying we are going to make the future the one that we want it to be. I'll just share something with you again as to where I think this fits into the future of Bristol, which is not, word politics has become sullied over recent years. It's not, but it's important stuff. It's not a political point. I think it's a reality point. Bristol's future is only going to work if we have an inclusive future. And I think it's really important to sort out what we mean by inclusive. Now, in the past, what people have meant by inclusive is we're going to do a big development project and we're going to give you a community hall. We're going to do a big community development project and we're going to give you a few grants to run your community project and indulge in some cultural niceties. None of that anymore. What an inclusive future for Bristol means that if our local enterprise partnership is going to bid for £70 million worth of money coming into the city, we want a good chunk of that money distributed evenly across our communities. We know, and it's not just a case of high-minded, fluffy, lefty, social justice stuff, that if you don't build an inclusive future, if you don't build a future for a city or a place that tackles inequality, that doesn't distribute opportunity across a community, that robs people of hope, what you build is a very delicate future for a place, a future that a place is prone to disintegration. And it's not as though anyone can escape from that. It impacts on your economic opportunity. The World Economic Forum in Davos in January this year listed 10 challenges to the global economy. In the top 3 challenges, they said, were growing inequality and structural unemployment. These are 2 of the major challenges facing us and people in our communities down here. Are we building a future in the city that is going to tackle inequality? Is the economy that's coming along going to be one that includes people from communities like ours, from Lawrence Hill, from Easton, from Southmead to Hartcliffe? Because if it's not, then we are going to be violating the very lessons that on the global tables they are saying are going to threaten future prosperity. It's about personal tragedy of those people that lose their opportunity, but it's about the prosperity of our place, where we live. And I think the message is that what happens to the people, the most marginalized communities, what happens to those who live on the periphery is no longer something that can be left on the sidelines to be reported on in the papers or on local media when there's some kind of incident. It's no longer on the sidelines. What happens to our communities is central to the future prosperity and strength of this city. And I think you should sit in that strength, that Bristol cannot be a thriving city unless you are at the table, unless your skills are at the table, unless you are included in the future of the city. And like I said, this is not about community grants. This is not about a community hall. This is not about a festival here and there. This is about taking fair shares of the tens of millions of pounds that are swirling around this economy, which is one of the most powerful outside of London. So I congratulate you on there. I'd love to see you sitting at the tables of power and decision-making in the future. And anything I hear back, and I'm sure Rob and the police officers here or anyone else from any services can do to help you, hold us accountable, make sure that we do help you. So congratulations to you. You're the heroes today. Thank you.